So the question is, should I buy Ulta Beauty Incorporated? The stock symbol is ULTA, and I recently wrote an article about this, talking about Ulta Beauty and its real value. So I'm just going to go through this article a bit and summarize for you what I've learned through my research about Ulta Beauty. I didn't know much about Ulta Beauty. I used to see the store whenever I would go to factory outlets. And I did notice that it was a standalone retail store usually when I saw it. When I started asking people about Ulta, mostly women, they were telling me that it had all of your high-end makeups, MAC and Estee Lauder. It had Bedhead, Maybelline. It had all of these makeup brands, which I'm not that familiar with. But anyways, they said that Ulta also had their own beauty products, which was interesting for me because that would help out the company actually, that they were producing their own and they had their own unique products. So I became interested in that. And when the stock fell recently, you can see here in one of my bullet points that it fell because there was an earnings miss. So, and they also lowered their guidance. But even though this happened, Ulta still was improving. They've still been growing their earnings and everything. So they had growth. It just didn't meet the analyst expectations. And from after my analysis, I think why the stock fell, it fell about 30%. And so I think it fell mostly because the analysts were pricing in for this company to keep its perfect performance, which if you look at its 10-year and 5-year history and the fundamentals, you can see that it almost had perfect performance. And so I think they were pricing that in, and when it wasn't exactly what they had thought, then they lowered it a lot. So it took a big hit. Retail is dying, people say. But Ulta is unique because they also have their own services in the store. They have salon services, they do hair and nails and makeup and things like that, which would drive traffic to the physical store. So this is not exactly like your typical retail store. In addition, people go there and they can get samples. And when you're buying makeup, you want to actually see and smell and feel and sense the makeup. So this helps to bring traffic to the physical store as well. And they still have a web presence as well, an online store. But this just shows you that they have both. So they have a little diversity because they have strength in the physical stores and in the web or online store. Global expansion here. Could boost the future long-term growth of the company. Right now, Ulta Beauty is just focused in the USA, but they made plans to expand into Canada. That would be their first global expansion. And the retail makeup is huge in Asia. So this is just their first step in Canada to get their feet wet, and eventually they could expand into Asia, and there could be a huge boom there if they do that. Now, just keep in mind, this is, skepticism about what they're going to do in the future, but it is possible. Okay. Yeah, so if Ulta hasn't been on your radar, then you might change your mind after looking at this article. If you want to see the article, it's on Seeking Alpha, and it's titled Ulta Beauty and Its Real Value. You can read the whole thing. So going through here, another important thing that I found out was that an overlooked benefit of Ulta's business model is its loyal customers. They have 32.6 million active rewards members. And just as a comparison, this is twice the amount of Starbucks that they have for their reward members. And if you think about it, Starbucks has around 14,000 stores and Ulta only has around 1,200 stores. So that's pretty impressive that they have that many active rewards members and loyal customers that keep coming back. And those are active reward members. Okay, I went through and I analyzed the company according to the BTMA stock analyzer. And you can see across the board here, all this green is good. And it has nearly perfect scores in a lot of these categories. And the total score is 87.5. So 87.5 is the report card out of 100. So very impressive score overall. If you look for the price trend over the last 10 years, the growth has been 32% per year growth if you average it out over 10 years, which is unbelievable. Look at earnings. Look at this as well. That's like picture perfect. You almost never see this for earnings. Increasing consistently, you love to see this. So this company is very good as far as value investors looking at this stock, and it makes it more predictable that you can see it's increasing and consistently throughout the years. Return on equity also going up. It's at a high level. Try to look for 16% and above, and it's over 22%. That's great. Same thing with return on invested capital. Look for 16% and above. It's over 22% and going up. Gross margin percent, look for around 30 or above, and it's consistently above 30. Doesn't pay a dividend. The balance sheet, it looks great for the company. It's financially healthy. Value versus price. For this, this is according to the BTMA Wealth Builders Club. And in the Wealth Builders Club, there are different price valuations, or I should say valuation models, and it's according to ranges. And these ranges are based on 10-year EPS growth, 5-year EPS growth, 10-year book value growth, 5-year book value growth, total equity growth, and then we have them based on the PE ratio versus the S&P 500 PE ratio. And then we also have it according to what analysts are expecting in the future. So these are the valuations. So basically the value of Ulta, according to all these valuations, it's pretty much undervalued according to all of these. The value could possibly go up to upwards of 400, high 400s here on some of these, if the growth would be, the future growth would be similar to the past 10 years EPS growth, or the past 10 years book value growth. It could be in this range. So anyways, all of these are at least around 215 or higher. Right now the stock is at 226, and more or less it could be around in this mid-range here, maybe even around 300 or higher. So this just tells us, I mean, you can't take any single valuation method specifically and put too much focus on one, but you just want to get an overall range of what it's going to be. So most of these show that it's actually undervalued. Okay, so forward-looking conclusion. This is one concern about the company, about Ulta. This line here going up is Ulta's performance since 2007. And then the red line below it here, this red line is the S&P 500 from 2007 to present day. And you can see the growth for Ulta has been huge, but one thing to note is that even though Ulta outperformed the S&P 500 over these years greatly, um, when there's a recession, like in 2008, there was the economic crisis recession, Ulta fell more. And this could be because it's not as diversified as the S&P 500, and also because makeup or maybe luxury makeup might not be a necessity. Um, so this could hurt a company like this that's selling maybe luxury products or something that's not a necessity, because when people are on a budget or they're low in cash or the economy is suffering, then the price could fall more. And that's what happened with Ulta. It fell more during these recession years. But then when the economy picked up, Ulta was booming. So as long as you're able to hold Ulta Beauty long term and you're a patient investor, then you should be able to capitalize on some big gains with it. But if you're impatient and you think that there might be a recession soon and you wouldn't be willing to hold it, then it might not be a good match for you. Okay, so the 12-month price target range, you can see the consensus is around 310, and right now the price is around 226. So this is just another method. Like I said, don't focus too much on any single method for valuation, but this just tells you most people are believing that it's going to be above 300. These are actual 10-year and 5-year results. So as I said, that Ulta, over 10 years, it has a compound annualized growth rate of 32%. That's almost unheard of. And for 5 years is around 15%. So you could see that the growth has actually slowed down, appears to slow down. The more recent growth is less, it's about half, but still 15% is really good. And when you think about Ulta's expansion globally, this could really increase, especially if they go into Asia. Okay, so there's also this good stocks at bargain prices. So if you're interested in finding out more companies like this, then you can check out the Seeking Alpha article, and you can click on this good stocks at bargain prices, and this is a program that will help you to find basically good stocks at bargain prices like this Ulta Beauty company. And you can also check out the BTMA Wealth Builders Club if you're interested in how these valuations are done, and the BTMA Stock Analyzer. So all of these charts and everything come from the BTMA Stock Analyzer. It really makes analyzing stocks much easier. You wonder how you lived without it before. So thank you for checking out my video about Ulta Beauty. I hope it helps you, and have a great day.